Okay, for today's lesson, you're going to need the sheet that says factor polynomials by grouping. So today we're going to take what we've learned and we're going to kind of piece it all together with factoring, with greatest common factors. So I think you're going to find today fairly easy once you catch on to the whole pattern behind it. So what's new about today is that we are factoring a polynomial that's larger than a trinomial. So all of these today are going to have 4 terms in here. And there's a method that you can factor these, and it's called by grouping. Okay, so first off, what you need to do is you need to make sure that your variables go in descending order. So like here, 3, 2, 1, and then none. And I believe all of these today, they're going to be in that order, 3, 2, 1, then none. If they're not, that'd be your first step. You got to reorder everything, put it into standard form. So it goes, biggest all the way down to smallest. And then what you're going to do next is you're going to go ahead and place parentheses. So we're going to place parentheses around the first and the second term. We're also going to place parentheses around the last, the third and the fourth terms as well. Notice I keep that sign outside of the parentheses, and we're going to see how that affects it here in a minute. So 35x cubed minus 21x squared. All right, if I'm looking at just the numbers, 35 and 21, I know my GCF is going to be a 7. Okay, but they both at least have 2 x's, so I'm also going to pull out x squared. So back in just this first parenthesis, 7x squared times what is 35x cubed? That's going to be a 5x. And then 7x squared times what is negative 21x squared? That's going to be a negative 3. Okay, then I'm going to come back here and put the plus sign. That just falls right down there. And then 15x minus 9. What I have for this one, my GCF between 15 and 9 is just going to be a 3. And then what I put back is what needs to multiply to this. So 3 times what is 15x? That's 5x. 3 times what is negative 9? And that's going to be a negative 3. Notice, if you did things correctly, these 2 parentheses are going to match up. Okay, so this is 7x squared times the quantity 5x minus 3 plus 3 times the quantity 5x minus 3. Now, because these parentheses match up, what I can do is I write down just one of them. Okay, so I write down one of those parentheses, and I want to make a second parentheses, and that comes from this piece that was out front, pieced with this piece right there. Okay, so again, I just take the ones, my GCFs I pulled out, I put them together in one parentheses, and I have it multiplied by the common parentheses that we came up with. So this is my final answer for this one. Again, it's super easy to check to see if you're right. You can just use the FOIL method, multiply them back together, and see if that's what you come up with. Okay, number 2. Parentheses, parentheses, same for the back ones. So 25a cubed minus 35a squared looks like my GCF is going to be a 5, and they both have at least 2 a's. So to put back, that's going to be a 5a, and then a negative 7. Then I put the minus sign. Okay, 20a and 28 looks like that's going to be a 4. So then that's going to be a 5a, and then negative 4 times what is 28? Well, that's positive 28, so it's going to be a negative 7. Again, if these don't match up, you messed up somewhere with your factoring. Okay, so take your first term, and then your first GCF, your second GCF, piece them back together. So 5a squared minus 4. And then put this one parentheses that they both share just down once. So this is my final answer for that one. Okay, number 3. So we're going to go ahead and put parentheses, parentheses. Okay, GCF for this first one, definitely a 5. And again, looks like they share 2 of the variables. So to put back, 5e squared times what is 5e cubed? That's just a 1v. And then 5e squared times what is negative 5e squared? Just a negative 1. Okay, in the back, you're like, well, I'm looking at it. I got this plus sign, but they don't really share anything. And if they don't share anything, every number has a GCF of 1. So I'm going to pull out a 1, technically, which puts back the v minus 1 like that. So piece it all together. You got 5v squared minus 1, and it's being multiplied by the parentheses v minus 1. All right, number 4. Put your parentheses. So checking this one out, looks like 7 is going to be your GCF, followed by 2 n's. So to put back, so let's take a 4n and then a plus 3. Okay, put that minus sign. 20n minus 15, your GCF is going to be a 5. So negative 5 times what there? To get your negative 20n, and it's going to be a 4n. And then negative 5 times what is negative 15? That's got to be a positive 3. So our parentheses match up, so we're good to go with that. So I'm going to have 7n squared minus 5 times the quantity 4n plus 3. Okay, number 5. Make your parentheses. Numbers are a little bit larger. 126r cubed, and then negative. Actually, I screwed up because here's what I didn't do. When your numbers are so large like that, you should go ahead and check, hey, does this actually have a GCF that I can pull out of everything to start off with? Okay, so I'm looking here and just paid no attention to those yet. I shouldn't have put those there yet. But if you got these terms, 126, 144, 210, 240, and I'm thinking like, well, what can I pull out of all of those? And try to think of a GCF. Well, definitely a 2, because they're all even. And so then if I can pull out a 2, so I'm going to put a 2 off to the side, can I pull out a 3? Okay, so the 3 rule. Remember the 3 rule, you add the digits together. 1 plus 2 plus 6. Well, that's 9. 9 is divisible by 3. 1, 4, 4, again, is 9, divisible by 3. 2, 1, 0, that's 3, which is divisible by 3. And 2, 4, 0, that's 6, which is also divisible by 3. So if it's divisible by 2 and 3, it's also divisible by 6. All right, I'm going to tell you for this one, 6 is the largest number that I can pull out of these. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull out a 6, and then I need to rewrite everything that's left. So let's see, 6 times what's 126? It's going to be 21r cubed. 6 times what is going to be negative 144r. I think that's a 19. I'll double check. So 144 divided by 6. I'm sorry, 24. I don't know why I was thinking 19. So 24r squared. Okay, and notice I already put that in like that there, and then I'm going to do a plus, and then I'm going to put over here 210. So 210 divided by 6 that I pulled out is 35r. And then I pull a 6 out of negative 240, and that's just going to be your negative 40. Okay, so right now, don't pay attention to that 6, but that 6 is just going to like hold outside here. I'll put it in parentheses, just kind of waiting. So then you're looking at 21r cubed, 24r squared, like we've done in the past. With this case, you're going to pull out a 3, and it looks like they both share 2 r's. So 3r squared. Okay, then I'll put back in parentheses. So it's like a 7r, and then that's going to be a minus 8. Okay, come over here, 35 and 40. Looks like you pull out a positive 5. So again, you got your 7r minus 8. So I know I'm on the right path here because those match up. All right, so remember the two parentheses, I'm just going to write that down one time, 7r minus 8. And then I'm going to piece these two together, 3r squared and that plus 5. So 3r squared plus 5. But I can't forget about that GCF that I pulled out first. So that just comes back, and you just place it right in front. Put it in parentheses or leave it out. Either way is okay. All right, number 6. If you're looking at number 6 here, again, see if you can pull a GCF out. Yep, they're all even. So 2 works. Well, what else? 3 work. 1 plus 5 is 6, so sure. 2 plus 1 is 3. Yep, that's divisible by 3. 3 plus 0 is 3. That's divisible by 3. And 42, 4 plus 2 is 6. Also divisible by 3. And then I would also see if maybe anything larger goes into it, but 6 is going to be the biggest number that will go into all of those as well. So let's go ahead and rewrite this. Okay, so 6 times what is 150a cubed? And that's going to be 25a cubed. And then 6 times what is negative 210a squared? So 210 divided by 6. See, we did that in the previous problem. We had 35. So minus 35a squared. I'll put that parentheses around there. Plus, and then I have 6 times what was 30a? Well, that's 5a. And 6 times what is negative 42? That's a negative 7. Okay, so again, that 6 will just come down. I'm going to put in parentheses kind of just to wait. So 25a cubed, 35a squared, a 5 will come out, and then an a squared comes out, which means you're left with a 5a, and then times negative 7. Plus, okay, so I'm looking at this parentheses here, 5a minus 7. What can you pull out of that? Well, there's just a 1, because they don't really have any other terms in common. So when nothing else will factor out, you just put a 1. And then put the parentheses back like it was. And we know we're on the right track because those two match up. Okay, so because of those two, you're just going to write down one of those. And then our other parentheses comes from the other GCFs that we pulled out. So 5a squared plus 1. And then last, don't forget that 6, put it in front. Okay, you guys go do number 7. Oops. Do number 8. Number 9. Number 10. Number 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. And 16.